Lesson 8-1 is multiplication properties of exponents. So these are the properties that include the multiplication. That would be the first three that are in your flip chart that I posted yesterday. Okay, so I'm just going to do the guided practice. If there are ones that you want me to work and post also, then I can do that too. But just let me know in Edmodo. So on this one, if we look at this problem, it's first we see it's all multiplication. Okay, so since it's all multiplication, we know that we're only using multiplication properties. Second, there are no exponents outside of the parentheses. So if there are no exponents outside of the parentheses, the only property that we can use is the very first one in your flip chart, which is called the product of powers. Okay, so the product of powers says that when you're multiplying two powers that have the same base, so the y is the base, if they have the same base, we add the exponents. So the 4 is an exponent and the 5 is an exponent, and we would add them together. I'm going to rearrange a little bit first because it's all multiplication. The order that it's written doesn't actually matter. So I'm going to rearrange, and I'm going to put the 3 and the 7 together. So 7 times 3. And then I'm going to put the y to the 4th and the y to the 5th together. So times y to the 4th and y to the 5th. Okay, so it's a little bit easier to see when you rearrange it, and that's why I did it. All right, so now I can see that this just says 7 times 3. 7 times 3 is 21. So if they're whole numbers, we just multiply, divide, whatever it is that it says. We're doing multiplication, so we multiply. The exponents of the like bases we add. So this exponent is 4. That means I have 4 y's. And this exponent is 5. So that means I have 5 y's. So together I have 9 y's because I'm going to add them. So I'm going to put y to the 9th. And this would be my final answer. It's completely simplified because there's only one like base and the number in the front is the smallest it's going to get. Okay, the second one's a little bit more difficult because there's a few more terms, or not terms, but variables. But it's the same process. It's all multiplication. We do not have any exponents outside of the parentheses. So it's the same rule that we used on number 2A, we're going to use for 2B. So again, I'm going to rearrange because it's a little bit easier to see when I put the things that are alike together. So the -4 and the -6 I put together. The r and the r to the 5th I put together. The x squared and the x squared I put together. And then the t3 and the t I put together. So then I'm going to do my multiplying and adding. These are whole numbers, so it's multiplication, which would give me 24. R and r to the 5th. There's one r here, so this is 1 plus 5. Which gives me r to the 6th. There's 2 x's and 2 x's, so I have x to the 4th. 3 t's and 1 t gives me t to the 4th. And here again, I am finished because I only have one of each letter, and the number in front is the simplified. Okay, number 3 says simplify this one. Okay, this one has parentheses outside of the exponent. And when you have parentheses outside of the exponent, you're going to multiply the exponents. So the base here is 2, so I'm not going to mess with the 2. It's going to stay a 2. But the 2 and the 2 here are exponents, so I will multiply them. 2 multiplied by 2 gives me 4. So I would have 2 to the 4th. And I still have the 4 on the outside of the parentheses on the last set of parentheses. So now I'm going to do the same thing. I have 4 times 4. And so my final answer would be 2 to the 16th power. Or if I put that in my calculator, I can get a really big number for my final answer. But 2 to the 16th is fine for now. Okay. On this one, we're combining the two rules. So the first rule is adding, the second rule is multiplying. This one has a combination of the two. So first, we have to do the multiplying ones. We have to get rid of this 3, and we have to get rid of this 2. We can't do any adding exponents until we can get rid of these two. Okay, so this means that I have everything that's inside the parentheses multiplied by itself 3 times. So what that means is I can take each part or factor inside the parentheses and put it to the third power. Okay, so I took the 1/2, that's one of the factors. A squared is a factor, and b squared is a factor. And all 3 of them are going to be raised to this third power. And same thing with this one, except I'm going to go ahead and multiply these first to get negative 4b to the 4th power. But now the negative 4 and the b both need to be to the 4th power. So I have negative 4 to the 4th and b to the 4th. All right, so now I have a little bit more to do. Here, 1/2 to the 3rd power is 1 to the 3rd power and 2 to the 3rd power. 1 to the 3rd power is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. Multiply these because there's parentheses and an exponent. So a to the 6th. Multiply these because there's parentheses and an exponent. And then over here I'll have negative 4 to the 4th power would give me, I think it's 64, but let's see. 16 times 4. No. Times 4 again. 256. Okay, so this would give me 256. And then b to the 1 power raised to the 4th power, 4 times 1 gives me b to the 4th. Okay, so I have finished with all of the exponents outside the parentheses, and now the only thing to do is add, like up here. So I'm going to rearrange again. 1/8 times 256. So I have this number and this number. I'm putting them together. There's only one a number, and there's 2 b's. So b6 and b4. When I multiply here, I think I'm going to get 32. And there's only one a. And I add the 6 and the 4 for the b's. So 32a6 b to the 10th is my final answer.